So obviously, as people set up in business, they realise they've got to wear all these hats that you've spoken about. Obviously, the main area, although there are lots of areas we can help with, the main area people would think of us as helping is on the finances. Mm-hmm. So where do you see the biggest mistake, or what's the biggest problem people who are not used to dealing with the finances make when they first start in business?
Yeah, quite simply put, not knowing their numbers, not following the incomings and the outgoings, and not understanding what the numbers mean. And very quickly, I think the stat is 1/3 of businesses fail within the first 2 to 3 years. And it is because they're either spending out too much, taking out too much, or just not making the money when they think they are.
You know, let's take a car mechanic, for instance, who charges someone £240 for a service and MOT, and they think, do you know what, I've got £240 in the bank, I'm going to go away on holiday.
Yeah.
What actually should they be thinking?
They should be thinking, actually, firstly, depending on how the business is structured, if it's a limited company, then the money isn't theirs. It belongs to a separate entity, the limited company. And if it is a sole trader setup, then fine, it does belong to them. However, a large portion of that needs to be considered and put aside for the taxman, because they've got, and not only that, they've got overheads for the business to pay out for as well. So every time you're making money, you should be thinking, right, well, what portion of this needs to go out and go to these various places?
I mean, that £240 immediately straight to the VAT now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and actually, I think that is a really important one that I see all the time, is people who have limited companies treating the limited company like their personal bank account.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, one of the biggest pieces of advice I tell people is choose how much you want to earn, and take that on your monthly basis. Take it on your monthly basis through salary dividends, however we best do it for tax efficiency.
Absolutely.
And that's by doing, you need to do your personal budget so that you know how much money you need to live on.
Yeah.
And then when we get towards the end of the year, 3 months before year end, we're going to sit with them.
Yeah, we sit with them. We pull up all the numbers. We talk them through where they are in the financial year up to that point and how things are going to look in the next 3 months for when we come to the year end and the accounts get done and the tax return. So we have a conversation with the client then and talk about extraction and tax bill estimates and what the best way forward is now to help them, like you've just said, if they've got a plan in place, help them get to where they want to get.
And obviously tax savings at that point. Absolutely. Or extra dividends or however people want to
best fits in with their plan.
Move on from there.